Pleasant afternoon, evening, or good night, wherever you are. This is Dr. Keela with Good Hair, Good Body. Today, we are talking about how and why refined sugar makes and keeps us fat, addicted, and aging fast. Refined sugar is a food additive, and it does communicate information to our cells that is not helpful. Just as a brief reminder, we do not offer medical advice, only education. If you want medical advice, kindly seek that of your own medical professional. So let's get to it. When it comes when it when it comes to whole foods versus food additives, if we're talking strictly biochemically, whole foods are made of multiple types of macronutrients, meaning carbohydrates, which encompasses starches, fiber, and sugar. They are also made of protein and fats with some cholesterol. Whole foods are set up for a slow release of nutrients because of the protein and fiber content in them, and particularly a slow release of sugar. But when you're speaking about processed and ultra processed foods, the protein and the fiber are often removed. And also, vitamins are often removed as well. The end product is a refined product, but it's lacking significant nutrient content. In the case of refined sugar, it's just pure glucose, which is one type of sugar, or fructose, but it's there's nothing limiting or slowing down the its breakdown. There's nothing to slow it down. So you get a massive release of this refined sugar, and a massive absorption from the gut into the bloodstream, and worse with chronic consumption, because you may think that bread has a lot of natural sugars in it, but 9 times out of 10, if you didn't make the bread yourself and and the manufacturer used white sugar, that's what you're absorbing, that refined sugar. Without the presence of fiber and protein in its native state, bound to the sugar in either the grain, the fruit, the vegetable, even the sugar cane, without the fiber and the protein, there's nothing to stop massive release, massive overdose of sugar. So you end up absorbing too much of it through the gut, which means your blood sugar stays high. And high blood sugar is a signal. Chronically high blood sugar is an additional type of signal. And what it does is that it skews hormone production throughout the body, starting at the pancreas, but in other body cells downstream as well. And you get abnormal communication within cells as well as between cells. As a result, their ability to utilize energy is skewed. And when you skew the ability to utilize energy as well as to make energy, you don't have the fuel necessary to drive certain cellular processes to help repair cells. Okay? This should actually say abnormal cellular structure. When you can't repair cells properly, you end up with abnormal cellular structure, which we see as impaired healing. And when you have abnormal cellular structure, you end up with abnormal cellular function, abnormal cellular behavior. Everything you see in orange are features of different diseases. But note, it's on a continuum. Everything is related. So when you put junk information in, the food additive is junk information, you get abnormal abnormal communication, energy metabolism, meaning the access and use of cellular energy, whether that is energy from the food you consume, our energy stored up in your cells, abnormal cellular structure, abnormal cellular behavior. All of these constitute diseases. I just summarized it for you. Okay, now let's see what diseases often occur. It's a lot. There are a lot of diseases. So you you'll have accelerated aging in various forms, such as age spots, um, premature wrinkling and loss of skin firmness. You'll also have a weakened immune system, which means your ability to heal will be compromised. Your ability to heal will be compromised, and your ability to clear infections will be compromised. So that can show up as dandruff. Many people know and many people don't know that dandruff is really a manifestation oftentimes of fungal overgrowth. You will end up with abscesses. One form of abscess is acne. And an abscess is a pocket of infection. You can end up with recurrent skin infections. All of these can culminate into hair loss because an unhealthy scalp, a scalp that is infected, inflamed, is not going to grow hair properly. And I already mentioned impaired wound healing, which is incredibly common among people who have chronic diabetes mellitus. You'll often see, like I said, what I talked about before was localized infection, but you'll also see spread of infection throughout the body. If it happens in the blood, it's septicemia. If it happens in the organs, it's sepsis. And you can end up with organ failure. And this spreads the entire geography of the body internally, and it's deadly. You can also end up with a number of cardiovascular issues, such as high cholesterol, hardening of the arteries, otherwise known as atherosclerosis, stroke, and heart attack, which are basically the same conditions in which you have impaired blood flow to the brain in stroke, to the heart in heart attack, otherwise known as myocardial infarction. And remember when I mentioned impaired energy use? That shows up as Alzheimer's dementia, which is basically the brain's inability to use sugar, whereas vascular dementia is, it often results from chronic hypertension and leading to impaired blood flow to the brain. In any case, there is an impedance of flow of energy, whether in the form of nutrients or blood carrying oxygen and nutrients to the brain. The same happens in heart attack and stroke, but what we call them is often different. Stroke and heart attack are a sudden um, stoppage of blood flow, whereas vascular dementia is stepwise cessations of blood flow to the brain over time, and Alzheimer's dementia is the inability to glean nutrients, the brain's inability to access nutrition to sustain itself. But all of that has to do with flow. There's also the issue of chronic inflammation, which leads to pain. The nerves get really irritated when blood sugar is too high, but it's not, blood sugar is not the only problem in type 2 diabetes. Like I said, there is a hormonal cascade and an abnormal hormonal cascade going on that is leading to quite a bit of inflammation as well. So it's the blood sugar plus other things that impede the clearance of anything that's an irritant. And when you can't clear irritants, you end up with inflammation. And a feature of inflammation is pain, nerve pain, joint pain. And then there are the fertility issues. So there is the vascular issue of erectile dysfunction in men, as well as the real issue of male infertility resulting from type 2 diabetes. PCOS, polycystic ovarian syndrome, is type 2 diabetes of the ovaries, where the ovaries have challenges utilizing energy, and instead of making female sex hormone, they end up making male sex hormone, which obviously interferes with fertility. One feature it interferes with is the inability to ovulate. You need to be able to pop eggs out the ovary so that sperm can access them um, for fertilization. But if you can't ovulate, it's very difficult to get pregnant. So this chart is providing you a cheat sheet, a shortcut for you to know where you'll find refined sugars. And refined sugars fall under a category of molecules, unhealthy molecules called obesogens, because they cause obesity, but they also cause cardiovascular, molecular, fertility, immune, inflammatory, and so on and so forth issues that we saw before. So you need to be able to identify refined sugars in store-bought foods, are what they call food. So in this column, furthest left, I provided you the easiest way to identify these sugars is by the suffixes or the root words in them. All, os, dextrin, malt, maltol, tall, saccharide, okay? You'll find them in a lot of your longer shelf life goods. So that's your baby formulas, cookies, nutrition bars, baked goods, uh, sweets, sodas, energy drinks, candies. That's the middle column, so you know where to look. Here are the names in the far left column. Now you have to go look for them in these products, middle column. And just to reiterate some of the adverse effects of this refined sugar, the right-handed column shows you how seductive it how it seduces, so to speak, your taste buds and your brain into an abnormal experience with food that leads you to chase the high of the dopamine rush you get from consuming refined sugar. Yes, because refined sugar is as addictive, if not more addictive, than cocaine. So, yeah, you will chase that high, no doubt. And this column also explains, in short, the cardiovascular issues, the metabolic issues, ultimately, what keeps your blood sugar high, what causes you to gain body fat, what causes miscommunication in cells and excess um, fat storage, as well as other hormonal dysregulation that ultimately affect the heart, the brain, the liver, all of it. So your task is this. Like I said, I'm keeping it short. I'm providing you a checklist. Use that cheat sheet to go and do your own inventory of your own refrigerator, your pantry, wherever you have stored goods. Write down the processed food and the additive in it. Now, if you want to be able to fill in this column right here, where it says what you can do about it, basically how you can break the addiction, you will have to you'll have to make an investment in your own education, because we do have the information for you, very well organized, I might say, right behind this chart. And this is just for refined sugars. There are over 27, or at least 27 known categories of food additives. So we have a chart for each one of them, the different options that you can turn to help you break the addiction and experience food in a healthy way where you're not introducing toxins into your body, but your food is still flavorful. Okay. You can naturally enhance the flavor of your food in several different ways. This book and course, Fat Addicted and Aging Fast, will teach you how to do that. Okay. So we'll give you the short and long term adverse effects of food additives for the different categories, and there are at least 27 or over 27 known categories. And we'll teach you how to replace those food additives with actual food so that you can um, truly enjoy eating again without the tricks of food additives. If you want to learn how to utilize food to help reverse type 2 diabetes mellitus and how these foods work, that's right behind door number 2, the stressed out diabetic. So we'll teach you the short and long term of impact of type 2 diabetes, the foods that help reverse it, and help you heal. None of this stuff has to be complicated, and we teach it in everyday language so that you can, and it's task oriented. So you don't have to worry about sitting through long lectures. It's more important for you to learn how to use this information quickly. And if you want to stay up to date on how different, I won't say necessarily advances, but innovations in medicine and medical research are uncovering healthier ways to combat disease and slow the aging process, join our monthly membership program, Medicine Behind Beauty. We don't talk long in that one either. These are just some of our references where we got our research data from, our research information. And all in all, Good Hair, Good Body not only makes plant and mineral based skin and hair care, beard care, and natural deodorants, but we also provide consultation services for cosmetic chemistry. So if you need something formulated, we can help you with that. And most importantly, we provide health education in everyday language so that you can help yourself and your family improve what you consume for a healthier body and for longevity. This is Dr. Keela of Good Hair, Good Body signing out.